It's a different kind of blackout tinting day today, guys. Yeah. Blackout tinting is coming to us. We're going to talk all about why, so stay tuned. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Thanks for pressing play. Today, we have a little bit of a different one scheduled for you. It's going to be not so related to cars and more so related to the house situation, but it can also kind of be applied to cars. Let's get into what we're going to be doing today because, like I said, it's different, but it's something all of you guys can most likely use. So, yeah, let's bring in a specialist.
So we're putting some residential window film on Justin's house to block heat, add some privacy, and to protect the interior from fading damage and UV rays.
It's kind of something you can use on a car and kind of something you can use on a house. So obviously my cars are all tinted. The truck, both Corvettes, everything I've ever owned has been tinted by blackout tinting. But now the house will be too. And for those of you who have been, longtime viewers, you probably realize I did this on my previous house as well. And that's why I'm doing it here, because the tint that they use on the house windows or residential windows is not the same as the tint you use on your car. And while it's not the same, it does have very similar benefits. So Dean, tell us what these benefits are.
So residential films have a lot of the same properties as what you'd use on your vehicle, but they have different looks and appearances. Generally speaking, car tint is going to be black to match the factory dyed glass. Sorry. Generally, car tint is going to be black like the factory dyed glass, and it's used just as much for visuals and privacy as it is to block heat these days. But on a house, a lot of times we're using clearer films that either cut down on the heat and UV without affecting the appearance at all, or something that makes sure that you can see out during the day but you can't see in. And there's a lot of metallic films that do that as well. But one thing that's very important to know is that you can't put car tint on your house, because if you'll blow up your windows. It's very exciting stuff.
So obviously we're not looking to blow up any windows, and because of that we go to blackout tinting. They know exactly what to use on this stuff. Dean is the one that tinted my house before, and like I said, it was because of that experience I'm having them come back, because we noted much lower temperatures from the sun beating on the front of the house. And this house is kind of the same thing. We have a couple different blinds and even some carpet that has been faded from UV damage, and this window tint from blackout tinting, or xpel is ultimately the manufacturer, is going to help slow that down. And on top of that, it's going to help block some heat so my air conditioner doesn't have to work as hard during the summer and all that good stuff. Now, we're really not doing this so much for privacy as we are for heat rejection, but there is a little bit of privacy to it, and when we get to that point, I'll show you why. But anyway, let's jump into this. All right, so this is kind of the cutter or plotter system that Dean has. It's all mobile, so basically this can all be done at your house, or in this case in the garage. He's going to make all the cuts in here. This is, like I said, kind of the mobile system. So the roll of tint is already on there. We're going to cut the first one for the garage window, and yeah, so he's going to kind of show you how it's done.
So this basically is adjusted along the ruler. There's different blades, so you can make multiple cuts at the same time.
So obviously he already measured the windows. He knows exactly where to cut them. Pulls that down, and as you can see, it's cutting it as it goes. Now, with the glass in your house typically being completely flat, there is a lot of room for error here. So if he were to measure this, by half an inch too big or whatever, he can easily cut it at the window as well. So not that he's going to do that, just saying that is an option. So he is just spraying it down, cleaning the window with a squeegee, make sure it's as clean as possible. Then he's going to go ahead and spray it again and put the tint on. So pretty similar to how you would install tint automotive. Slightly different process, just making sure everything is perfectly clean before putting any tint on. Obviously you don't want any dirt in that tint. Okay, now he's spraying it again, and now he's going to put that tint on. And as you can see, he's got it applied. Now he's just going to start squeegeeing out some of the bubbles. And guys, we're going to talk all about the details of the particular kind of tint I'm using here what it does, how much UV, how much heat, all that stuff that it blocks. So stay tuned for the details. So here comes the first pass with the squeegee. And like I've said a lot of times about blackout tinting, their installs are always invisible. So when this is said and done, you're not really going to be able to even tell there is tint on this window, which is how I wanted it. I wanted the most clear version you can possibly get that also blocks the most heat as possible. Now downstairs, we did want to go with a little bit more of a privacy film. So like I said, I'm going to kind of stand that one out for you guys so you can see the difference between the two. You can have this be totally clear while still offering the protection, or you can also opt to have a more privacy style film that will still block heat, but it also will block anybody from being able to see in. And that's pretty much that. That's one window down. Okay, so here we are in my living room. There's, 4 windows in this room, and Dean is going to do 2 of them right now. So I'm going to kind of show you from the inside as well. Obviously, he's got to clean the inside really well. The first step is he uses a razor to make sure there's nothing on the window. Then he'll spray it again and squeegee it, and then ultimately spray it again and put the tint on. So after he's done with this, I'm going to have him talk to you a little bit about the tint benefits in real world numbers. So how much UV and stuff like that it's blocking, and how this is really going to improve your air conditioning setup.
Guy across the street has Parkinson's. Hey. Chill out.
Yeah, that's definitely lower than I was hoping. So.
Go ahead. Look what mommy has.
Look at the professionalism here, guys. He's got booties on his shoes. You gotta love it. Drop cloth. Anyway, this is the window he just did. You literally can't tell it's tinted, but it's gonna block some extra heat coming in because the sun actually sets right on this side of the house. So this is gonna be more protected. It's gonna let my air conditioner work better. All the good stuff. And yeah, like I said, blackout tinting is always good with their invisible installs. You can't tell anything is on that entire window frame. So really good stuff. All right, so we have Dean here now. He's doing the dining room windows. And as you can see, they're the same size as the living room we just did, but there's 2 of them here. I'm gonna have Dean tell us while he's doing this, so he can multitask, a little bit about the film that we're using, what it's called, who makes it, what the benefits are, all that good stuff. So take it away, Dean.
Sounds good. So this is called xpel Clearview Alloy 40. Over the last few years, this has become our most popularly installed film. A few reasons for that. It's extremely high performing in terms of heat rejection and UV rays, or UV that's blocked, should I say. It has a nice sheen on the outside, so it makes it harder to see through during the daytime without really sacrificing a lot of natural light. So it rides the razor's edge of privacy. It has a nice hue to it. And generally, it can just be used for a lot of different things.
How are these films measured as far as blocking heat's concerned?
So there's 2 different things that you can look at. A lot of the films will generally say the infrared heat rejection rating, which is very misleading. That talks about like what you can actually feel coming through the glass and is generally metered with a BTU meter. But the true way to really show what the film's doing is what's called the TSER, or total solar energy rejected, which is a combination of a lot of different stats that make up the film. But even that itself is not the full story. So you have to look at a combination of what the glass is made out of, what type of low E coating it has, the type of film you're putting on, and what purpose it's going to serve to try and get the best overall result.
With that said, what is the TSER rating of the film you're putting on now?
I believe it is 56% on dual pane glass. And I believe the IR rejection rating is 88.
Okay, so is there a film out there that would block 100%?
No, that is impossible.
That's what I figured. So what is the highest rating film that you can get, and why wouldn't we use it here?
A film that's going to block way more heat than this is generally going to be much more reflective and a lot darker. Films work by absorption and reflection of heat, and the more of both of those that you do, generally the better it performs. But from a safety standpoint, you want your film to reflect a lot more energy than it absorbs. That's how you make sure that you don't have thermal breakage or premature seal failure with house tint.
Okay, so basically this is one of the clearest films you can get that has the highest rejection of heat then.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's ultimately why we chose this, because we didn't want the tint to be visible on the outside that we got anything done, but we want the benefits. So downstairs, like I said a couple times now, we're going to do more of a privacy film that's also going to reject heat and stuff like that. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about the details here, just so you guys don't see us putting a clear film on here and then that's that. But there is a lot of benefits to this film. Dean touched on UV. I think he said 88%, and I can actually show you a couple different places where UV damage has actually caused a problem with carpeting and even the blinds. So this film will help at least slow that down, if not prevent UV damage moving forward, as well as helping keep some of the heat out.
UV rejection on this is 99% of UVA and B.
Okay, my bad.
No, it's no problem. That's the thing. There's a lot of different stats.
So front door is getting done. You can see the side lights versus the center has not been done yet. And like I said, the Dean actually put it in good terms earlier, because of the way the front doors are designed, the metal inside there really holds onto heat and kind of radiates it into the house. So tinting the front door glass is also really a good idea.
Yeah, it tones down just enough light and glare that it actually makes the glass more optically clear because it's easier to see through now.
Yeah, so my wife actually noticed that earlier in the living room, is that, and I think John actually put in the best words where he said it just takes the edge off. Like, this looks almost blown out on camera, where that looks much more visibly appealing. So it's definitely an interesting approach here, because like I said, the protection that this is offering from heat and stuff like that is worth it by itself, but it also gives it a more visibly appealing look. In the bathroom now, this is the Skylight that is untinted. So a lot of light actually comes through that Skylight, which is a good thing, but a lot of heat does too. So I'm going to try to show you the difference between the one that's tinted and the one that's not. So this one is not tinted and this one is. So it is a slight difference. It cuts down the amount of the light that comes in by a little bit, but it is going to reduce the heat that comes in by a lot, which is what we're definitely looking for. So it's kind of hard because the camera automatically adjusts, but that's done and not done. So you can definitely tell it's brighter. It should help a lot with heat, but we're gonna watch him do the Skylight because he said that he really likes doing Skylights. So we're gonna see how much he likes it. And then we're gonna also show him the foyer window, which is right there. That's the big one. That lets a lot of heat in. And then we're going to show you the basement sliding glass door that we're going to be doing more of a privacy film on. So here Dean is starting to tint that window. I thought I was going to be able to film some of it, but the majority of what he's doing is going to be totally blocked. So you'll have to just trust me that he's up there doing what I've said he's doing. He's doing all the same procedure as the previous windows. He's cleaning it, making sure there's nothing on it, then sticking the film on. So the next thing we're going to show you, of course, is going to be the foyer window and then the basement door where we're adding some privacy. I can't really show you much here, but Dean did just say climbing up that ladder that there's a lot of heat coming in. That's Skylight already. So this film is going to be, it's going to take down the temperature of the bathrooms by quite a bit.
So as soon as I got the piece of film on the glass in the first Skylight, it immediately reduced the temperature and the heat coming through. At the same time, I'm spraying so much slip solution to get the film on, the humidity is crazy. So I am actively soaking wet from sweat. All for your benefit, sir.
Yeah, so obviously if it's that hot up there, these things need to have some form of protection against heat. All right, so Dean is up on the, I don't know what I'd even call that, landing?
Sure.
He's doing the big center window, and we're using Clearview Plus on this one. So we're using Clearview on this because I want people to be able to see the chandelier and stuff at night, and you don't necessarily need privacy in that window. So either film is a good option. They both block roughly the same, pretty close to the same amount of heat / UV.
Same amount of UV, slightly more heat rejection with the
Alloy
film.
Yeah, slightly more.
Yeah, if you're pinching pennies on the difference between them, they're both extremely high performing films, but technically the alloy film is higher performing because it's more reflective and therefore reflects more energy away. Clear films like this that don't have a sheen to them still can work really well, but they just don't block as well as something that is metallic.
And there is a decent price difference between the two films.
Yes.
Okay, so if you were to do this with your house, if you wanted to keep it, as cheap as possible, but have this similar heat rejection that I'm going with here, the Alloy 40 would be probably your best bet. The Clearview Plus is exactly what it sounds like. It's completely clear, but it's going to not change the visibility or the color. I don't know why I keep saying visibility. It's not going to change the color of your windows at all, whereas the Alloy is a slight different color.
Yeah, if I installed the Alloy 40 on somebody's house and they didn't know which ones I did, it'd be very hard to tell the difference. But in terms of pure performance and heat rejection, the only reason to use the Clearview Plus is if you want the film to be basically invisible once it's installed. But also you're going to pay more money for a film that has no tint that does the same thing as something that is slightly tinted and designed to do the same thing. Like in the same reason we did your first house all in Clearview Plus 70, but what you told me you were looking to accomplish here, the alloy film made more sense, and in this case also cost less money.
Yeah, so I really wanted to focus on as much heat rejection and UV rejection as possible without really changing the look of the windows from the inside or outside. And either one of the two films can achieve that goal as long as there's a little bit of play there, because like I said, the Alloy 40 is a little bit different visibly, but really, like Dean said, unless you know to look for it, you're not really even going to notice it.
Through our process of educating our customers on the options and figuring out what exactly you're looking to accomplish, we really need to know what you want it to look like just as much as what you want the film to do, so that way you can get the best possible result. With that being said, a lot of times, through the slightest sacrifice of natural light, a lot of times you can get a better overall finished result and performance by going with a less expensive film. But if somebody wants completely invisible performance, Clearview Plus 70 is really the only way to go.
So here's Dean. I don't know if you'll be able to see him in there or not, but he is up there waving to us. Say hi, Dean. All right, so here we are in the basement, and this is where there's some interesting UV damage. So you can see my floor is brown, but over here by the door, it's actually more of a green. And there's all because of this door, the light coming in from the door has faded this carpet pretty badly. So the carpet's going to obviously need replaced at this point, but with what Dean's doing with the door and the tint, it should slow this, possibly stop it. So this is the kind of stuff you got to keep an eye on, because between carpet, hardwood floors, even blinds can get damaged from UV stuff. So yeah, obviously we're going to do this door with a more privacy style film. So, because you can see there's no blinds on this door yet. And outside, people won't be able to see in as easily for when we're watching TV or whatever down here playing pool. So yeah.
A common misconception is that windows themselves and the coatings in them will stop fading. And a lot of window companies, even the high-end ones, will tell you that the solution is to put more expensive windows in and all this other stuff. Nothing can completely stop fading, and the window film won't either. But window films in general block a lot more UV rays than the glass itself will on its own. So by adding this on, you can really reduce the damage that's done, or spread out how long it takes for it to actually show up. So that way, when you put money into new wood floors or fresh carpeting, it takes a lot longer for it to get damaged by the sun, as opposed to if you just leave the glass alone. So don't get fooled. Your windows are fine.
So here's the difference, guys. There's Dean, and now if he steps over here, there's me. You can't see, this is a privacy film, but it's also blocking that heat. So you can see in through here, you can't see through here. That's the difference. So the privacy film will also block the heat, so you can have kind of your choice here, how you want it to be. So really, really cool stuff. All right, guys, so we are pretty much done with the tint. When I say we, I mean this guy here. He did all the work. But we're going to go over what it is we used and why we used it here. So this little handy xpel book kind of shows you what the tint's going to look like, so you could actually hold it up to your window and see what it's going to look like, how it's going to look after it's all done and all that good stuff. And if he starts to flip the page, you can actually see the film and pretty clearly how it would affect your view. So on here, of course, it's going to go through all the benefits. This is the exact film that I used on most of my windows here without any kind of privacy, really. It does have a little bit of a shine to it from the outside, so there's a hair of privacy tint to it, but not crazy. And then here's, of course, all of the numbers for heat rejection and solar, all that good stuff. So that's the one that went on most of my windows. And next we'll show you the one that went on my foyer window, which was the more clear version. So here's Clear View Plus 70. That's the one that we used on the foyer window, and as you can see, it's clear, just like the name suggests. So if you flip it over, this will show you all the benefits, all the numbers, basically what it's going to block for you. Again, this is the way you want to go if you want that install to be completely invisible and you don't care about privacy at all. Now, on the skylights, we wanted to block a lot more heat, and it didn't matter if they were privacy or not, unless there's a drone flying overhead, I guess. But for the most part, it was mostly just for blocking heat. And then the basement doors that you saw the privacy film installed, we'll check that one out next. And that is going to be this one here. It's called Blend 17. And you can see that one's pretty dark. Now, this is a privacy film, so it has kind of a mirror appearance to it on the outside. But the darkness is what really helps block more heat. So the darker the film, it kind of seems like the heat and UV properties start to step up even further based on that darkness appearance. But it doesn't necessarily have to be dark to block any UV or heat. Dean has something to say about that.
All right. In terms of heat rejection, there's a lot of things that play into how the film actually works and how effective it is. The type of glass that you put it on, the angle of the house, the altitude, the type of low-E coatings that are in the window, but the most important part is the amount of energy that is absorbed and reflected by the film. And generally speaking, the more energy that is reflected by the film, and sometimes the shinier the film is, the more overall heat it reflects. That also is important when... Can I go over that again?
No, it's so important when...
Sorry. That's also important when you're looking at the safety of the glass itself. If you put the wrong types of films on the wrong types of glass, that can cause thermal breakage issues. So that's why you can't just buy automotive film off of Amazon or Walmart and slap it up on your house, because it's probably going to absorb too much heat and crack your glass. That's why it's important to have a professional do this and not just, you know, I'm all for DIY, for lack of a better way to put it. But don't just go online, buy whatever you see and put it on. You're going to cause a problem, and it'll be nobody's fault but your own.
Oof. Good advice from Dean. But you can actually see, just like he was saying, energy reflected, 46, 43, depending on if it's single or dual plane, and then energy absorbed, 43, 49. So the Blend 17 does a good job of reflecting a lot of energy because, as you can see, it is a reflection kind of film. So those are the 3 types I used. Obviously, this book is full of different types you could use. If you guys want to give Blackout Tinting a call, they are very soon to be nationwide. So definitely give them a call. Let them know you're interested in some flat glass, which is what this is basically called, flat glass tint. And they'll be able to take care of your home or commercial property. So this is not just residential. And odds are good you'll probably deal with this guy. So
Hopefully.
if you do, give him a call. Let him know Horsepower Obsessed sent you, and he'll be like, oh, that's cool.
That's true.
Anyway, big thank you to Blackout Tinting for hooking us up today. This was an awesome project. Like I said earlier in the video, this was something I knew I had to get done after having it done at my previous house. The difference in the front of the house, especially when the sun was setting on the room I used for my computer room, you could clearly see the difference of how much heat was making it into the house. And this house is going to be no different. So big thank you to Dean for spending 2 days with us here. Big thank you to Josh, the whole team over at Blackout Tinting for always being awesome. And I mean, they do these things too. And these also look fantastic and also stay really comfortable on the inside because it's the same idea with a different application. Anyway, give them a call if you want to get some flat glass tint, and I'll show you that number right now. That's the number right there. If you call that, you can get flat glass or your automotive needs, which is PPF, ceramic, and window tint there as well. Give them a call, tell them Horsepower Obsessed sent you, and that guy will be at your house. Whether you think that's a good idea or bad, I'll leave that up to you.
Yeah, questionable.
Thumbs up if you liked it, guys. Subscribe if you haven't. And as always,
Stay obsessed.